Hello, everybody, and welcome to Art. Today, we are going to be starting a new project and creating these full still life pictures. A still life is a picture or painting of objects. So let's get started. Everybody should have a pencil and a piece of paper. It does not matter the direction of your paper, so that is completely up to you. Make sure to put your name on the back of your paper. We're going to begin by drawing a sunflower in the bottom right corner. So we will start off with the circle, and keep in mind that the circle does not need to be perfect. Sunflowers are organic and found in nature, so they do not need to be perfect. Next, we're going to add the petals. Do the best you can to create these triangular shaped petals. They don't need to look exactly like mine, as long as they look similar. You're going to make one full round around the flower. Then, once you complete one full round, do a second layer. Make sure the petals are around the same level as each other. Now that we have completed our first sunflower, we're going to add a second one. Now, because this flower is hidden behind the other one, creating that illusion of space, we won't see the full circle. So once you have a partial circle drawn, we're going to add petals just like we did on the first flower, creating that triangular shape and then doing a second layer. Now that we have finished our two sunflowers, we're going to draw a gourd. Gourds are usually used for decorating during the fall, but they can also be eaten. So we're going to start by drawing this very hill hook shaped, kind of looks like an R. Then we're going to add a little curve like a backwards C. And then to finish this off, we're going to curve it back around and give it a belly. Now, the belly is kind of hidden behind my flowers, but maybe you understand what I'm saying. Then we're going to add a little circle where the stem would have been connected. There we go, just like that. Once you complete drawing the gourd, we're ready for the next object. We're going to draw the pumpkin. The pumpkin can be shorter or taller, wider or really skinny. That is completely up to you. To draw the pumpkin, we want to make sure that the bottom does not go below the edge of where the sunflowers lay. So I'm starting out by drawing like a cucumber shape. You may be wondering, why are we doing this? But trust the process. To draw a pumpkin, you want to work in layers. Next, we're going to add on to the pickle or cucumber shape, and we're going to mimic this curve. So coming up from the top, we're going to mimic that line or do the same thing and connect to the bottom. I realized I thought I went a little too low on mine, so feel free to erase whenever you do make a mistake. I've been drawing for a long time and still make mistakes, so don't be afraid to try again. So then we're going to do the same step on the other side, mimicking the line or doing the same kind of line. Now on this one, you might notice when I drew, it ran into my other objects. That is the key to this picture. We're doing a lot of overlapping. Notice that we started by drawing the object that is closest to us and then working our way back. Now that we have finished the base part of our pumpkin, and yours could have more layers than mine, but mine only has 5 sections, we are now going to draw the stem. So pumpkins grow on vines, and they have really thick stems. So coming up with that kind of curvy look, we're trying to make it look 3-dimensional. That means it looks like it's kind of popping out rather than 2-dimensional flat. So creating this little curved line and then another curved line is going to give it that 3-dimensional effect. Once you have done that, you can then add in your different little vines that come off the pumpkin. Now that we have completed our drawing, we are ready to start adding some color. We're going to be using some oil pastels, and I have them in these really nice containers, color coordinated. I am very particular on keeping my oil pastels organized and clean. Keeping them in their particular spot is going to help keep the oil pastels nice and clean for use. So you should have also have gotten some black and brown oil pastels from the counter. Follow along with this coloring method. We're going to use a brown and we're going to color in the circle part of the sunflower. Because we forgot to draw a smaller circle when we were doing the drawing process, I'll do that now. So we're going to finish coloring this in, and then we will move on to smudging it with our fingers. After using your finger to smudge the oil pastel, go ahead and clean your finger off using a wipe. We'll keep this near us so that we can wash our hands after each color. Now we're going to use a black to fill in the little circles and then do the same process of smudging. You might notice that I like to outline my areas first. That's going to help you stay in the lines a little bit better. Cleaning those fingers off is going to help not mix the colors. Sunflowers usually have either like a gold kind of tone or a bright yellow, so we're going to get a yellow and color those in. We are trying to stay in the lines in this process. Like I said, outlining tends to be very helpful in staying in the lines. Now that we have the sunflowers completely colored, we're going to work on the gourd. And like I said before, outlining it's going to help you really stay in the lines. Then we're going to color this in fully and then finger smudge again. When you are finger smudging, you want to be very careful not to go outside of your outline. Next, we're going to grab a different color of green to add some details. We're going to fill in the little pit area where the stem was and then just add some lines that follow along the curves of the gourd. Now that we have that done, we're ready to color in the pumpkin. And just like I keep saying, we want to outline our object to make sure we stay in the lines. And you were probably already thinking this, that you are going to color it in and then do some finger smudging to fill in those little white holes in the areas that you may have missed. That's the really cool thing about oil pastels, is that you can push and move the material around to cover up any areas or blend them really well. Make sure to clean your finger off, and then we're going to go in with a yellow oil pastel just to add some brighter areas, kind of like a highlight. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Now we're ready to color in the stem, and I'm using a brown to fill this in. And then just like we did with the pumpkin, we're going to add a little bit of details. So we're going to color this in. If you have any white spots, do a little bit of smudging, and then grab a different color like you did on the gourd and add in a couple lines or details. Those nice little vines, those we can just either make those brown or green. I'm making mine green. If you wanted to add on the background some polka dots or some stripes or something, you could also do that. Next, we're going to take a black oil pastel and we're just going to trace all of our lines that we had drawn. This part you have to be very careful to make sure you stay on the line. Oil pastels are very thick, and so it's easy to miss the area if you're not being careful. So going around each of the petals and all of the lines that we had drawn. When you finish your lines, it should look something similar to this one. Now that we have completed all of the oil pastel, we're ready to do the magic. We're going to take this watered down tempera paint and we're going to go right on top of the oil pastel. Notice how the paint is pushing away from the oil pastel. It never covers it up. That oil pastel, since it is so oily, it pushes or resists the water, the liquid that is with the paint. So it still shows our picture. You're just going to do this to cover the entire background, and when completed, we're going to put it onto the drying rack with the new Messy Mats under it.